The best CT rifle is not the M4 or the M4A1S. Today, I'm going to introduce you to what pros have been using more and more recently, and it's something, I don't mean to brag, that I've been using for a long time because I think it's so valuable. We are going to talk about the AUG today, and I'm going to give you every little tip that you can do in order to utilize this gun to its fullest ability. Hit that subscribe button, turn those noties on, let's go ahead and hop into it. Guys, I'm going to start this off with something you might not know about the AUG. That is actually counterintuitive to how it normally you think about playing with it, right? Long range angles, doing that kind of thing. It's the only CT rifle that will actually one shot to the head. I know that sounds crazy, but if you actually play counterintuitive to people, how people think you should play with it, if you're close range and you tap them in the head, they die instantly. It's insane. A lot of people don't realize this and they think, well, oh, I have the AUG, I got to play as far back as possible. Guys, this gun is actually insane up close as well, and you don't need to use the scope with it. That is one thing I love about it, is it like gives you the option. You can use it like a normal rifle, or you can scope in and use it, which I'm going to give you a lot of good tips about that. So now that I've taught you the surprising fact, I now have to give you a message about how to get the best looking AUG skins like this one in the game.
Thank you to the sponsor of today's video, Skins Monkey. They are one of the greatest and easiest to use CS2 trading sites out there. You can swap out the skins you do not like for brand new ones that are so much more fresh. Even skins that are trade locked can be secured by adding them to your backpack. The greatest thing about the site is that you can buy skins for so much cheaper with a 35% deposit bonus when you use my code CoJo. Make sure to check out the freebie section where you can get a free skin just by completing tasks. On top of the bonuses, you also get a $5 bonus when clicking the link in the description.
Now that we got that unique and fun little fact out of the way, I'm going to teach you the best way to actually utilize this gun, and it's actually going to be kind of using it like an AWPer. Now, I want you to be a little bit more not as static with it when you're using it. I want you to be able to flow and vibe and, you know, move around with it. But yes, in general, we are going to want to play, you know, longish range fights because we have the scope, we have the ability to sit here and, you know, zoom in on our enemy, which is really good. So one way I like to use it is I like to crouch and uncrouch when possible with it and spot like this because when I eventually do unpop here and see somebody, it's really surprising to them. I'm zoomed in and I can shoot them. Now, one thing about the AUG is people get intimidated by the spray pattern, but honestly guys, it's not that hard. It literally just goes straight up and then to the left, then right, then left. So straight up, it goes to the left, then right, then left. So if you can just master the first part of that and realize you just have to pull down, look how easy that is. Like it's genuinely not that hard, and people get really intimidated when trying to learn a new spray pattern, but genuinely guys, it's way simpler than you think it's going to be. So with the scope, with the easy spray pattern, not to mention with the spray pattern when you're zoomed in, it's even tighter than normal, right? Compared to the spray without it, it's actually really easy to manage. It's really simple, it's really basic. Look at that. You see the difference when you're scoped in? You just literally drag down and they get deleted. Now, one thing I will say about this gun is at super long range fights, it is going to be a little difficult because if you don't headshot them, I believe you have to hit them sometimes more than 5 times. I believe with the AUG, I have done like 99 and 5 before, and that is extremely frustrating. It's very annoying. Maybe you can fact check me on that. Maybe you have to hit them 5 times and it's 99 and 4. I know that I have ran into some problems in the past with that. But yeah, it's just really cool because you can actually hold angles like right here. Very simple. Guys, the best part too is sometimes this is like kind of like a pro method to use it. You could swing an angle unscoped, right? So I'm unscoped here. And then when you fight somebody, you could do the same donk slide you do with other rifles. But as you're doing that, you're scoping in and shooting as you're falling back or going to the corner. I think it's honestly really broken to do that, and it really helps me on these like headshot fights to sit here and tap, 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 or burst, and also implement some of that movement that we just said. Some angles here on Inferno. Inferno is probably the worst map for it, by the way. I don't know why I chose Inferno to showcase it. Some angles that you could use, I guess, are like right here, surprising people at a boiler. You could also play pit with it. I think one nasty angle you could do on a retake, or if you're just pit and they're wrapping you, is right here. You just gotta be careful with that wall, but you can see everybody moto side here. I showcased on B, a very valuable place you can play back here. And let's go ahead and talk about another very useful thing with the AUG is like, say you threw a defensive smoke down or something. I love the fact that with the AUG, when you're shooting through these smokes around the corner, you can see a lot. Do you see when I'm shooting the edge? I just have a zoomed in view of my bullets going through, and with the tracers it makes it a little harder to see. But you can imagine how easy this can be when I spot somebody as I'm spraying, how to track them versus when I don't have a scope. I don't get that zoomed in view, so I can't track them as easily. I use this on Mirage all the time for the Mirage window smoke. Yes, you could do this with an A1S or an A4, but with the AUG, it genuinely helps out a lot more. So even right here, this is like a perfect example. They smoke moto, they're crossing the pit, and I can put little holes through here to see them. Not enough people are doing this, and the only downside to having the AUG with that is, yes, guys, they are going to see your tracers, so you will be spammed back. It will be pretty obvious. So just keep in mind that is something that will happen. Also with this gun, guys, one of the beautiful things about it is it has 30 bullets with 90 in the reserve. So that means you can sit here and spam a lot. If you're one of the people, I recommend learning them. If you're one of the people that know the instant mid smokes, you could sit here and try to spam through a little bit. And this is a little bit of another tip, but for this specific one, I would say don't scope in. I'd say unscope and then be active. Don't be the person in the game that sits here and spams the smoke and doesn't move. You're just asking to get returned back with spam and just die, right? So you wonder why pros are able to do it and they don't get killed. It's because when they're spamming, they're constantly pressing A and D and moving around so that they don't just get hit right back. So these are some of the reasons the AUG is good. I'll briefly talk about some weaknesses with it. I think sometimes because of the lower rate of fire, right? It takes a little bit longer to shoot. In between bullets, it's slower rate of fire. I think it can be a little difficult on retakes sometimes to sit here and run in and kill them. I think sometimes like the A1S or A4 would kill them and the AUG doesn't. So I think that's definitely a weakness. Is it's almost like the op where you don't necessarily want it in a retake. You want it to hold positions. You want it to, you know, be a little bit more static than if you have like an AK or something, right? So that's definitely a big weakness to it. We already talked about the tracers. Yes, they're going to see that. They're going to hear that. But yeah, I think that ultimately the biggest weakness is just that people don't know the spray pattern with it, so they get scared off of using it, because honestly it is just another rifle. I guess the biggest weakness, let's be real, is the price. It is $3,300, so it is a bit more of an investment. I don't usually buy it right off the rip. I buy it when I have a little bit more money. Maybe I have $7,000, $8,000 and there's somebody else on my team opping. One of the best ways to utilize this gun as well, guys, is a mix up. Change it up, you know, change your playstyle up a little bit. Maybe you want a rifle, but one round you have a specific angle you want to hold with the AUG. So of course, pull it out and utilize it. Like I said, maybe you want to, for some reason, hold this specific spot, or maybe even right here, and you think an AUG would be better. So going into the round, you're like, let's just get that. Or maybe you're like, oh, they keep wrapping, so I want to sit here. And as they're wrapping, you're shooting them through this little wood thing. So that those are some examples of why you would pull it out, even if you don't necessarily want to use it consistently. I think regardless, it's just something that you should get into your repertoire a little bit more. You should be using it. You should be thinking about it, because it's honestly too broken to not be used right now. It's absolutely has a place in the scene. The SG on T side is very useless, but the AUG is here to stay. So if you guys want personal coaching from me, I'd love to offer you my services. Fill out that form down below in the description. I also have a 25% off Face It code down there, which is absolutely incredible for you as well. Other than that, join my Discord. I'd love to interact with you. I'd love to talk with you and, you know, just help you out in every way I can. Appreciate every single one of you. Let's keep working hard. Let's keep grinding, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace out.